Hello friend, this is me. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So today I'm back with another video to give a review on another books. This book is the Echoes of the Heart, a memoir of love, loss and healing. This is by Dr. Muhammad Naveed Akbar. Welcome to the Echoes of the Heart, a journey into the depth of healing, resilience, and transformation. This book invites you to step into a story that is at once deeply personal and profoundly universal. Through the life of Aisha, you will explore the intimate struggles and dreams that define what it means to be human, the dance between pain and hope, loss and renewal, fear and courage. The path that unfolds within these pages reflect within these pages reflect the winding, sometimes difficult road that many of us walk. It acknowledges the shadows that can weigh heavily on our hearts, as well as the light that can emerge when we lean into vulnerability and connection. This narrative is a testament to the power of the human spirit to heal, grow, and thrive, even in the face of profound challenges. As you journey alongside Aisha, you will witness moments of profound loneliness, profound loneliness, and an exhilarating breakthrough, deep sorrow, and radiant joy. These experiences are not merely plot points but invitations to reflect on your own story, your wounds, your strength, your capacity for love and renewal. This book is grounded in the belief that stories have the power to heal and connect us. By sharing Aisha's journey, I hope to create a space where readers feel seen, understood, and inspired. The themes of hope, forgiveness, authenticity, and community. Community echoed throughout, reminding us that while our individual paths equal paths are unique, our human experiences are deeply intertwined. Echoes of the Heart is not just a story to be used, but a journey to be lived. It challenges you to listen closely to the whispers of your own heart, to embrace your imperfections. Imperfections and find courage in vulnerability. It encourages a mindful presence that honors every step of the journey, no matter how small. As you turn these pages, may you find comfort in knowing that you are not alone. Strength in shared experience and hope in the endless possibilities of growth and healing. Let this story be a companion on your path, a reminder that your heart has power and meaning. Together, let us embark on this journey of transformation where every wound holds the seed of renewal and every heart can sing its own beautiful song. So, as we have completed the first chapter till 1.15, and if you guys haven't watched it yet, you can visit our channel and watch it there. So we will continue this chapter from 1.16 in this video. 1.16, a conversation with the mirror. It wasn't until she saw in her third month in the city that Aisha really stared at herself in the mirror. Not just a glance as she brushed her hair or saw if she was dressed correctly, but stared, seeking meaning in the face that looked back. Her face hadn't already dramatically, but something in her eyes had. They were weighted, not the sorrowful heaviness, but the heavy weight of change. She saw in the mirror not the girl who had walked out of the house, but the woman who walked through unfamiliar streets with the silent intent. She remained there for a long time, observing the way her lips fell naturally, nature lips fell neutrally into a neutral shape. The way her eyebrows drew together when she saw deep in thought. She saw the subtle variations, dark circles that spoke of sleepless nights. The slight tilt at the edges of her eyes from numerous gentle smiles. She saw also the way her posture had changed, more solid now, less uncertain, as if her body had come to claim this life for itself. Aisha spoke out loud, barely a whisper. You are doing okay. It was awkward, but also important. And important to offer herself kindness, to recognize that what she had gone through wasn't easy, and what she saw, what she was creating, needed to be seen. Too often we look to other people to confirm our strength, but she discovered that the greatest but she discovered that the greatest sustaining strength lies within seeing yourself, within truly looking and having the courage to say, you are enough. She wrote it down that night in her journal. She referred it as the first real conversation she had never had with herself. No fade, no acting, only truth. And through the truth, gentleness, she came to understand she didn't have to prove herself to the city, to the folks around her, or even to those she had left behind. Her path wasn't a competition of strength, but an ongoing unraveling of becoming. She did it after that night. It became her ritual. She stood in front of the mirror every week and checked in, not to judge, but to connect, to inquire, how are you truly? Some weeks there were tears for answers, others tiny smiles, but each time it solidified her relationship with herself in a world that was asking for performance. In a, in a world that was asking for performance, this clandestine ritual was her act of truth. She started to walk differently, not arrogantly, but with quiet confidence. She was no longer the same. She would never be the same, and that was fine. The mirror did not now reflect a stranger. Did not reflect a stranger. It reflected someone in the process of becoming whole. The letter she never sent. Aisha wrote a letter one night, late after a very bad day. The city had seemed inhospitable. Individuals had been cruel, and the pain of loneliness weighed heavily in her chest. She ached for her mother's touch, her father's silence. Umar's witty sarcasm. She longed for the smell of her room, the sound of familiar footsteps, the security of being known. So she wrote it all down, her pen shaking as she put these words on paper. I miss you more than I can say. I'm afraid I'm forgetting the sound of home. The letter was raw, laced with longing, uncertainty, and a yearning for something soft and sure. She wrote of the pain in her chest as she walked past happy families, of the fear that she would never be, that she would never be able to properly be here, of the guilt of having left, even though it was needed. It wasn't a progress report, it was an admission. She poured honesty, blood onto the page, because it was the only way she could. But she never sent it. She folded it neatly, inserted it into an envelope, and stuffed it between the pages of her journal. It wasn't that she couldn't bear for her family to read it, it was the letter was as much for her as it was for them. She had to put words to them rather than have them be heard. The writing of it was without the distractions of daylight. The quiet grew so loud it could be heard ringing off the walls of her tiny apartment and ringing off the concerns of her mind. By day, she could occupy herself errands, language lessons, and wandering about smiling nicely. But when the sun set and city streets were lined with lights, she was alone in her own company, and at times that seemed like the greatest weight of all. Silence has a way of bringing to the surface what's been buried. It does not come when the heart is in disquiet. Rather, it is a mirror holding up all the things you attempted to keep at bay. She liked to sit beside her window at night, gazing out into the distant radiance of buildings, and there was a rhythm to it, throb that reminded her life was still in motion, even when hers seemed stuck. She wondered if there were people behind those windows too. Were they battling loneliness? Did they miss people far away? Or were they happy? The world's whole, the hearts unbroken? Release, a means of giving form to emotions too weighty to hold in silence. Over the succeeding days, she went back to the letter repeatedly. She never read it completely, but she would carry it in her hands as a talisman. It reminded her that it was all right to feel the missing somebody did not make you weak. It make you not make you weak. It made you have something lovely to miss. And that was a gift, not a curse. Later, she wrote other letters. Some of them she did mail, birthday greeting, brief updates, assurances, but none of them contained depth. Depth of that first one. That letter wasn't sent because it didn't need to be. It had done what it was meant to do. It helped her work through, helped her come back to life. Sometimes healing starts with speaking your truth, even if nobody else is listening. Nights when silence was loud. Nightfall left a strange sort of quiet in Aisha's life. There were nights when she slept with no particular reason. The tears did not seek permission, they arrived softly like unwelcome visitors and lingered until her body ached less. She did not attempt to hold them back anymore. Hold them back anymore. There was healing in letting go. Some nights she lay in bed with her eyes with her eyes wide open, allowing stillness to flow over her like a slow tide. She learned that silence was not always the enemy. Sometimes it was the balm she required, but sometimes it insisted on answers she didn't yet possess. To calm the silence, she started playing gentle instrumental music, piano songs, the occasional flute, wind chimes recorded in far off forests. These were her friends. They didn't criticize or ask things, they just were filling the emptiness with something soothing. Gradually, she adapted to existing alongside the quiet. It became less intimidating and more a reflection space. It wasn't comfortable all the time, but it was real. She began writing midnight notes in her journal, untitled, short paragraphs written when the world was sleeping. Some were meditations, some little shards of dreams, and many simple, raw chunks of feelings. Anger, joy, desire, desire, hope. In hindsight, those late night notes were some of her deepest writings. They were unadulterated by pretension or form. Spontaneously in their purity. As time went by, she ceased to be afraid of the silence. Of the silence. No longer did it herald absence, but rather presence, the presence of her own soul, learning to listen, to feel, to reassemble from the inside out. The first time she laughed without guilt. It occurred suddenly. She was in a tiny downtown she was in a tiny downtown bookstore, thumbing through a children's picture book she couldn't read through yet. When the door burst into open and bunch of teenagers come in, laughing and joking about something that one of them had said. One of them mocked up and over the top intimation of a TV host. And his friends erupted into laughter. Aisha didn't get the joke itself, but something in his gestures, his energy, his face broke through her defenses and she laughed. Not lightly, not carefully, but openly. But openly. Freely. It was the sort of laugh that rattled her shadows. That rattled her shoulders and lit up her eyes. And the moment she became aware that she was laughing, something within her stopped. When did she last feel this light? When did she last laugh without shame whispering in her ear? Guilt had been her shadow since the day she departed. Guilt at abandoning her family, guilt at wanting a selfish life in its autonomy, autonomy, guilt for enjoying moments of joy while others that she while others that she cared about were suffering. An intangible burden pushing down on her happiness, ending its luster. Even her triumphs, even her minor triumphs, tainted by the lingering presence of those she left behind. But in that instant, in that store where people laughed, she indulged in happiness without explanation. No one else in the room had heard her tale. No one was quantifying her sorrow, and that anonymity meant freedom. She didn't owe anyone her misery. She could have moments of lightness and of release. Then she stepped outside into the street with a bounce in her step. The air was filled with the scent of warm bread from a bakery nearby, and the sky had the gentle gold light of late afternoon. late afternoon. She smiled at strangers for no reason. For the first time, happiness did not seem borrowed. It seemed earned. It seemed earned. That night, she said to herself, joy is not betrayal. Joy is not betrayal. Its strength, it's a statement that life goes on even after loss. It's the heart mechanism for patching itself back up. And from that moment on, she ceased apologizing for the good times. She owned them as her recovery. As evidence, the heart, just like the earth, remembers to be able to bloom once more after the frost. She is becoming. It started quietly, like a whisper, spread across a change so subtle that she nearly overlooked it. Nearly overlooked it. But one morning, when she gazed in the mirror, smoothed out her hair, and wrapped her scarf with firm fingers, she knew this. She was no longer aching out a living. She was becoming someone stronger, someone softer, someone more whole. The broken shards remained, but no longer were they defining her. They were pieces in the mosaic, not the mosaic itself. She began to see the way others regarded her, not with pity, not with confusion, but with interest, with warmth. Her presence had shifted. She moved differently. Not in arrogance, but in presence. She asked questions without hesitation. She spoke up in meetings. She even corrected one person's pronunciation in her language class. Not rudely, but with soft assurance. These were things she could not have conceived of doing weeks before. Her relationship with herself became richer. She no longer condemned every every misstep. She started thanking her body for bearing her through. She forgave herself for those moments when she could not be courageous. The internal voice once filled with doubts now spoke with support. She was now her own ally, her own anchor. This change wasn't spectacular, it wasn't preceded by fireworks or claps. It arrived in small victories, working through red tape without frenzy, making a personal smile at night without waking up from restless dreams. Each action was a strand in the weaves of her becoming, and as she worked them together, she could see the form of something lovely, something uniquely hers. She had yet to travel so far. There would be additional silence, additional nights, additional longing that were infinite. But she was no longer afraid of them, for she had come to understand that healing wasn't an end. It was a rhythm, a turning back to self repeatedly, and with every turning back, she became stronger. She told herself in bed, whispering, "You are not who you were. You are becoming who you were meant to be," and that reality burrowed deep into her bones, like a nursery rhyme. Summary of Chapter 1. Journey Begins. In Chapter 1, Journey Begins, we followed Aisha's initial steps into an unfamiliar city and more significantly into rediscovery of herself. The chapter begins with her arrival ushered in with her disorientation, loneliness, and the unspoken weights of distance. We accompany her through episodes of vulnerability as she tries to navigate the city's labyrinthine streets, quiet nights, linguistic divides, and the poignant pangs of homesickness. Her journal is companion, her memory is a guide, and her solitude a reflection of her strength. At chapter's end, Aisha no longer merely clings, she becomes, embracing being a woman able able to live with uncertainty, with poise. A woman who still longs for home but no longer allows that longing to break her. A woman discovering healing is not the removal of pain but the visibility of growth. And with each beat of her heart, each sentence in her journal, and each day she decides to start anew, she moves one step further toward the woman she was meant to become. So, this is all we have from this chapter. I hope you guys liked the story. If you did, don't forget to press the like button. I'll be back with another videos with another books. Till then, just take care and goodbye.